everybody. I got another decal in the mail. It's a Robert from Hodgepodge Woodworks. Good guy. Go check him out. I'll leave the link above and down below. Thank you so much, Robert. I'm going to proudly display this on my wall. All right, Robert, we're going to put you right up here. Hodgepodge Woodworks. Go check them out. Hey everybody, welcome. I got these plastic plates at the dollar store. It was a whole set. Actually it was Five Below. I got this whole set for $2.99 or something. But anyway, what I'm thinking about doing is I cut up these little pieces of wood. I was thinking about gluing them in here and then filling around with resin. Doing another one, filling with resin. And then when it's all dry, I'll have little rings of resin, and I can make a rainbow bowl or rainbow resin bowl. So anyway, that's what you're gonna see me do now. This wood in the middle serves two purposes: to save on resin, and when I put it in the pressure pot, I can actually stack them all up and they won't interfere with each other. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some resin, and I'm just going to coat all this wood with the resin so it doesn't absorb the actual pour. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I mixed up a little bit of this epoxy, and I'm just going to coat all this wood so it doesn't absorb when I do the pour. I'm going to run a bead of hot glue around the base. I'm going to start pouring this. This layer I'm going to make a pearly green. So I'm going to put some pearl.
That looks pretty awesome.
Let's get it over to the pressure pot. Get it in here without spilling any. Pour the rest of this in there. So I have these three rings, like a blue, a green, an orangey. I'm going to put them on the lathe, clean them up. I'm going to make rings to go in between, I believe. And then I'm going to do like a flat bottom vase or bowl or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, and I was thinking possibly put this on top. I have these laying around. Possibly have these on top, flare it out. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, what you're going to see me do is clean these up on the lathe. That's what I'm going to do next. When I went to drill the hole for the worm screw, it kind of loosened the plate off of the acrylic or the epoxy. So I drilled a hole through the wood. I mounted it here with the spacer, and basically what I'm going to do is just kind of square it off and clean up the top so I could glue a couple pieces together. So that's what you're going to see me do. So I have this side pretty flat. This side is pretty flat because of the it was in that plate, but I'll hit it on the sander, and I'll continue. I'll do all of them like this, and then I'll meet you back at the bench. So I got these sanded down, flattened. I think I'm gonna mill some little strips out of this PSL, and I'm gonna make rings to go in between. Hopefully it'll look pretty cool. So let's go ahead and start milling this down. While those rings are drying, I got this old bowl that had a few cracks in it and stuff like that. I never really actually finished it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it back to where it's a decent size for this to sit on. And this is going to be the base. Originally I was going to just put a flat base on it, but I saw this sitting around and I said, you know what? It's a nice piece of walnut. I'm going to try to utilize it. So that's what I'm going to do next. Go ahead and cut this down on the lathe. Okay, these have been drying for a couple of hours now, so I'm going to go ahead and take the clamps off. I'm going to take them over to the sander and clean them up. So I got the one side of this ring cleaned up. I got this bowl cut down, the bottom of the base cut down. I'm going to use this epoxy adhesive. I'm going to glue this down and attach this. Let that dry, mount it on the lathe, clean it up, and then put my other layers. So that's what you're going to see me do. Okay, we'll let that dry, then we'll get it on the lathe. So this has been drying a little while. So I'll go ahead and throw it up on the lathe, clean it up, and then we'll glue the next layer on. Let's get it done. So I had this on the lathe. I kind of cleaned it up, roughed it out. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue this on and this. That's what you're going to see me do. Alright, let's check it out. Should be all dry. Looks like it's slid over a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the lathe. I'm going to use the parting tool, cut off the wood, the top layer, and see. We might leave the acrylic, the epoxy on there. Well, let's get it over to the lathe and see what we're going to do. So I was trying to part off that top to reuse it, but my cutoff tool kept getting caught, and I didn't want to take a chance on getting hurt or breaking anything. So I ended up just turning away that top layer. Now I'm going to clean up this acrylic. I'll make a new spacer, put it on, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to start cleaning up this top layer. Alright, I got this all cleaned up on the lathe. It looks pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead. I cut that layer off. A little change of plan. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this on, and I'm gonna keep a minimal hole here, and then I'm gonna put the piece of walnut on top and kind of make it like a hollow form looking thing. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. So let's go ahead and glue this on. This has been a little while. Let's go ahead and get it on the lathe. Been a few change of plans throughout this procedure, but this is what I'm going to end up with. It's going to be an open bowl, walnut, the green, the PSL, the blue with the glitter in it, and then this yellow. I started sanding it up. I'm going to continue sanding. I'm going to put a sanding sealer and then use my Axe abrasive paste and polish. I'll bring you back when I'm ready to put on the polish. So I'm just going to sand. Well, there you have it, guys. A couple of changes throughout the procedure, but I really love the way it came out. The green epoxy, I got a couple little blowouts, little chip outs and cracks. I don't know why. I filled it with the CA. They're smooth, but you can still see them in the green. I got the PSL, which looks really sharp. I got the blue with the glitter in there. Looks really cool. Almost looks like it all floated in the middle. And then I have the amber on top. The walnut base is nice. It cracked on the bottom here, and I almost blew a hole through it. But no, do I wish that crack wasn't there? Yeah, but what are you gonna do? All in all, I think this really came out sharp. It's nice. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate every one of you guys. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. I'll give you some close-ups of this. Really nice, really sharp looking little ring bowl. Thank you so much, guys.
Shut up and sit down.